Welcome to Our English. I am Priscilla Ramtran, the founder, and I am here with my incredible guest from Brazil who is wise beyond his years. Vitor, I'm so happy to have you here with us today.
Hi, so I'm Vitor. Thank you, Priscilla. So I've been studying with Priscilla for 5 years now, and I've been watching some videos on YouTube about how some Americans see Brazil, and also I saw a TED Talk named "The Dangers of a Single Story," and this TED Talk talks about how having only one version of a story can be harmful to you and other people. And that inspired me to talk to Priscilla and for sorry.
Get some resolved issues here. Don't worry, that's wonderful. So we will put the link for that TED Talk in the description box. So then you have some information on what Vitor is basing his communication about today. So, Vitor, 5 years. Can you believe it? Wow.
No,
I will link the YouTube video from Vitor and my first recording way back when as well, so you can see how much we've both grown. So back to your purpose. I'm also a storyteller as well. And when you shared the TED Talk with me, it was very intriguing. And I agree that one version of a story can cause problems. So your purpose is to talk about stereotypes. And apparently, one of the stereotypes you mentioned is associated with soccer. Tell us what is true and what isn't.
yes, so soccer is heavily associated with Brazil, and this is kind of fair. We have a lot of talented soccer players, and also there are a lot of people here who love soccer, but it's not everyone. Usually, even here, people tend to assume that everyone just loves soccer, and that's not true. I honestly am not very fond of soccer. I do not like soccer even in the slightest. So that's it.
I totally understand. So you dislike soccer, but we have this stereotype here. What made you so strongly not interested in soccer?
So, growing up in Brazil, there's this kind of pressure for you to like soccer.
Mm,
It's something that it's kind of imposed here to us. Like, you need to like soccer.
right.
And as I've grown up, people usually would take me to soccer matches and talk about soccer with me, and I did not like that. And then it grown and grown, and then I reached the point that I almost hate soccer.
Right. And hate is such a strong word, I understand, but you're saying because there was so much pressure, it caused you not even to consider liking the sport.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing and clarifying. What other parts of Brazilian culture would you like to enlighten the world about today?
So something that I think it's very overlooked here is our food. So Brazil has a lot of diversity. It has the largest Japanese community outside of Japan, and also a lot of immigrants. Even in the colonization of Brazil, there were Africans, Europeans, also natives. there always has been a lot of people here, and that created a vast culture and also a vast variety of foods. We do everything with food. We put candy on pizza. We do sushi in a cup. There's just so many things.
You're very creative with your foods. And when you told me that you made pizza and you sent the picture, and I'm looking for the sauce and the cheese, and I said, Vitor, is this candy on your pizza?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So here we would probably call that a cookie. And I heard that you also created your own pizza topping recipe.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's not that complicated, but it's mine.
Okay, do you want to tell us your secret ingredient?
Condensed milk.
Ah,
Everything is good with condensed milk.
I truly, truly agree. And I sent you the picture of the snow cone from Trinidad that was covered with condensed milk. Yum. Okay, we won't tell anyone your secret. So, Vitor, what about feijoada? I've heard, feijoada is the dish of Brazil. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so feijoada dates back from the colonization as well. People would give the worst parts of the animals to the slaves, like ears, feet, um, tail, I guess.
Hmm.
And so the slaves started cooking these parts with rice,
Hmm.
beans, and some other things, some vegetables. And then from this thing, feijoada was born. So it is very good, but we do not eat that as often here as some people may think. So it's something that we eat sometimes, but not every day. I like feijoada a lot, but there are people who do not like it as well. So that's it.
I've heard. And, when I first started teaching English and my Brazilian students would come, the first dish they would tell me about is feijoada. And I would say, well, do you eat it every day? And they say, no, it's too filling, teacher. We can't eat that every day. But hearing the history of it, lots of delicious foods have come from humble beginnings,
Yes.
right? And I do agree that it's not every single Brazilian who's in love with feijoada. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's pick your brain about samba.
Oh, so samba is something that like it's basically the symbol of Brazil, but we basically don't have contact with samba here. There is Carnival, which is a big event, and it will start on this Thursday, I guess,
Mhm.
and next Wednesday. I guess that's it. And it's like a time to celebrate samba. And then there's this big samba schools, but that's it. Unless you're into the samba community or you
Carnival.
like it a lot,
Mhm.
unless you're into it, you don't get contact to it at all. I personally do not know any samba schools in my nearby region.
Mhm. Mhm. I understand. Anything more?
No.
Okay. Well, that's very similar to Trinidad. We have Carnival happening around the same time. and it's celebration, it's partying, but it didn't always start off that way. At first it was a kind of a rebellious celebration. So we have some things in common. Well, that's good. And what are your thoughts on the opinions of technology in Brazil?
Oh, yes, that's another topic. So, Brazil has this image of being delayed in terms of technology, but that's not true. We are not like the most advanced country in the world,
Right.
but we are not delayed as well. We're like midterm. Like some people, I saw people saying that we all live in forests. I know this is an extreme example, but like, hey, there's light here.
Right, right. And without technology, you and I
I'm
would
not.
not have met. Right. I totally understand, but would you agree that there are still some places that do not have technology or
Yes,
cities?
yes. So Brazil is very big, so there are places there that are kind of a bit late in terms of technology, but it's
Hmm.
mostly a choice of the people who live there.
Hmm.
Mainly in the region of Amazonia,
Hmm.
there are a lot of Indian groups that just don't want to have technology, so they do not.
I totally understand that it's a choice. And for those who choose to live in the city, technology is a little more readily available. So Vitor can just plug in his device and he's good to go. Good, good, good. Well, that clears up quite a lot. Brazil is huge. But I like what you said about, making the choice to live in the rural areas versus the city areas. Because with technology, you can get so busy, you know? Sometimes you want a peaceful life. All right. And what are you going to tell me about the capital of Brazil?
Oh yeah, so that's quite a long story. People outside of Brazil and even some people inside of Brazil tend to mess up that kind of thing because the capital of Brazil isn't famous at all. People sometimes think that São Paulo is the capital of Brazil. Rio de Janeiro is also one. So Brazil has had some capitals through the history, and the first one was Rio de Janeiro, first capital that Brazil had.
Hmm.
And then for 4 days, I think, let me see. Yes, it was Salvador,
Hmm.
then Rio de Janeiro, then Curitiba for 3 days. Then around 1960,
Hmm.
the capital of Brazil became Brasilia, which is a city that was entirely artificially made.
Oh,
It even looks like a plane, the city. It was designed to look like a plane.
Brasilia.
Brasilia.
Oh, I have to
The,
look that up. Where's my pen? Got it. So 3 days, Curitiba?
these were some wild times.
I can only imagine.
There's a lot during that time.
Oh, interesting. How does one become a capital for 3 days? But it's good to know. Sometimes things happen, right? In the spur of the moment. Well, this has been super informational. Again, we'll put some links in the description box that Vitor will share with me. Do you have one last message for our viewers about storytelling?
So, storytelling is something complicated. So, depending on the person you're telling the story to, this person can create stereotypes independently of the story that you're telling. And also, I believe that it's unavoidable to sometimes be modify a bit the story or
Completely
like
factual?
sorry.
To be completely factual, to get
Yes,
all the facts right.
you can't be impartial, completely impartial telling a story. So I think the best way to avoid this kind of thing is to have more than one person telling the story, to search, to ask people, to talk to the people involved in the story.
Hmm.
It's very good for knowing everything.
I agree. Don't just take one person's word for it. Go and dig and find research, talk to people who actually live in the moment, in the experience. Like I get all my Brazilian facts from you.
That's a problem.
What? So, Vitor, that's a story for another day about your facts. I'm just kidding. But this was absolutely incredible. It was a pleasure having you and seeing you grow and seeing your English speaking evolve and the subjects and content of our classes are, like I said, way beyond your years. I really truly enjoy working with you and exchanging ideas. So I hope that you will join us again soon with another fantastic topic.
Yes, I will, if people like it. And thank you, Priscilla, for everything and also for being my teacher for these 5 years.
You are most welcome. And thank you for being my patient student because, sometimes I can talk a lot.
Mm.
Good.
Yes.
All right. Did you want to say anything else to our viewers?
I guess that's it. Bye, everyone. I hope you
Bye
enjoyed.
bye. If you like this content and you want to hear more from Vitor, leave some suggestions below, okay? See you.
See ya.